When Ford reintroduced the Maverick nameplate to the States back in 2021, it really proved that Americans would buy an affordable small truck. And for 2025, it's time for Ford to give the Maverick a big round of updates. So today I'm actually back here in Detroit with the brand new 2025 Ford Maverick. So now that we're finally seeing the new truck in person, let's go ahead and take a first look. Now, I was a huge fan of the Maverick when it was reintroduced back in 2022 because, again, it proved that Americans would buy a small pickup truck as long as you kept the price tag affordable. And that's exactly what Ford has done, because remember, this vehicle when it first came out was essentially priced around the same rate as like a Honda Civic. So for the same price, you can get a small truck that has way more practicality. But now that we're seeing the new truck in person, let's go ahead and talk about the exterior styling. First of all, there are 3 Mavericks for us to see in this little studio. I'll try to show you guys all of them if we can get by. There's a lot of other media in the studio right here that's kind of checking out the truck, but you can see this model here is the Tremor version. So this is the more off-road oriented version of the Maverick. They first introduced this nameplate or this trim level back in 2023. You can see the exterior color with the kind of orangey bronze accents really gives off a rugged appearance to it. You can see the grille on the Tremor also is a little bit more unique. Kind of reminds me a lot of the bigger pickup trucks like the F-150. I also love the new headlight design. You can see it's a LED projector. So the upper trims will have a new projector style with an LED daytime running light. You can see the daytime running light is a lot more distinctive this year, and it really reminds you of the shape of like their bigger F-Series. The turn signal is in incandescent design. You can see down here with the Tremor, you do get these bright orange tow hooks. You got a unique front bumper that really improves the approach angle, and you also get a suspension lift with this model here. I also love the hood graphics package that you get with this trim, but if you look over here, you can see this model is the XLT, so it's kind of like the mid trim. They also will offer the base XL as well. You can see the grille is also a slightly different finish. The headlights are still LED, but those are kind of the reflector style LEDs. You have an incandescent turn signal there. Again, no fog lights for this vehicle and no bright orange tow hooks. And then if you look over here, you can see this is the new color for 2025. It's called Eruption Green. We first saw this green exterior color back, I believe, on the Ford Bronco, if I remember correctly. You can see you also have the same projector style headlights with the interesting silver accents in the grille. You have some more silver trim here, so you'll be able to distinguish this as a Lariat, of course, from the bright chrome work or bright silver accents, and then of course the projector style headlights. But let's go back over to the Tremor trim here so I can show you guys some couple of updates. Now, first of all, this is just a heavy refresh in terms of the platform. It's still the same truck. It's still only offered as a crew cab configuration. Remember, this is a mid-size truck, so its overall length is around 199 inches. It has a 121-inch long wheelbase. You can see the Tremor includes the Tremor badging here. You have upgraded wheels, of course, with the Tremor. These are an all-terrain 235 by 65 R17, 4-wheel disc brakes, independent suspension, but you do get a lift. I believe the 2024 Maverick Tremor had a little over 9 inches of ground clearance. The ground clearance should stay pretty much the same. A couple of new features, however, you can see Ford has added a 360 camera system, so they've updated the side mirrors. You also have the availability of adaptive cruise control now with automatic emergency braking. So there's a lot more technology, which there's going to be even more technology once we get inside the vehicle as well. Now you can see the bed remains the same. It's, I believe, around 4.5 feet. You can still carry a maximum of 1,500 pounds of payload within the bed. Looking at the actual rear design here, you can see the taillights are slightly different. They have kind of like a new light signature with kind of almost like a jewel-like theme over the actual taillights themselves. You can see there's a Tremor badge over here. It still boldly spells out Maverick in the back. And then, of course, with the turbocharged engine, you can tow a maximum of 4,000 pounds, so that hasn't changed. You can see the bed itself. It doesn't actually have a damped tailgate, but you can obviously get it with a spray-in bed liner. You can get it with those tie-down hooks. You can also get it with the bed extender. And then over there, you can see there's an actual 400-volt power outlet, so you can actually power some of your tools or whatever you want at your job site. So overall, the packaging and the practicality of the Maverick hasn't really changed, and this is, again, one of the key selling features of this new truck. Now, what made the Maverick so special is the fact that Ford offered it with 2 different powertrains, including a hybrid powertrain. If you guys are wondering, the hybrid accounts for over 50% of the total Maverick sales. So it's been a huge success for Ford. Now, one of the big changes, or one of the big complaints, that customers had was the fact that Ford did not offer all-wheel drive with the 2.5-liter hybrid powertrain. Well, I'm happy to report for 2025, Ford listened and they are finally delivering. You can now get the 2.5-liter 4-cylinder with the electric motor combo with all-wheel drive. drive. So you can finally add that option. Ford says they'll offer the hybrid powertrain on basically the XL, the XLT, and the Lariat trim. So all the trims except for the Tremor, obviously. It gets a brand new electronic CVT transmission. So Ford says they've beefed up the internals. It's now going to be more durable. Power figures are unchanged, however, at 191 horsepower combined and around 155 foot-pounds of torque. That torque figure, however, is just for the gas powertrain. Ford doesn't quote a torque figure for the combined outputs of the electric motor and, of course, the hybrid, or of course, the gas engine. They are also targeting up to 42 mpg in the city if you guys go for front-wheel drive. If you guys want all-wheel drive, like this particular one here, it'll do about 40 mpg in the city. So again, best in class in terms of fuel efficiency, especially for a pickup truck. Combine that with the fuel tank, and you're probably looking at around 500 miles of range. So that's exactly why the reasons why the Maverick continues to do so well. The company doesn't quote a 0 to 60 time, but the fact that they are offering all-wheel drive finally with the hybrid electric powertrain is just a big win. So I suspect this powertrain will eventually start to take over, and I wouldn't be surprised if people end up buying more of these as opposed to the other engine, which we can talk about over here really quick. So this XLT that I'm showing you, Lee, go ahead and pop the hood really quick here and show you guys what's powering this one. Now, as you can see, the hood, you have to actually pull it twice, but it has a little prop rod, obviously, to hold up the hood. But this engine used to be the standard engine, but for 2025, the hybrid engine is now the standard engine again. And what you get here is the 2-liter turbocharged EcoBoost 4-cylinder. It makes 238 horsepower. So that's actually down about 12 horsepower versus the 2024 model. But the torque figure is the same at 277 pound-feet. This is obviously the more powerful option. It also comes standard, of course, with the company's all-wheel drive system and an 8-speed automatic transmission. Now, I don't have any kind of fuel economy figures just yet, but this engine is the one that can tow up to 4,000 pounds. So it'll be interesting to see, because I've had a chance to spend a week with this engine. It's a wonderful powertrain, but again, not the most fuel efficient offering. But the fact that Ford is offering the hybrid with all-wheel drive and 40 mpg is going to be a big game changer, especially if you guys want a small pickup truck like this. Now, moving inside the interior of the brand new Ford Maverick. First of all, the exterior got some really nice upgrades, but if you guys are tech nerd, you're really gonna love the interior updates that Ford has made. First of all, this is the Lariat that we're sitting in. It has a really nice color combination called Navy Pier. You can see it has like a two-tone look with the blue, the orange stitching, the kind of almost taupe accents that you see in the actual bolsters of the seats. You also have Maverick embossed on the actual seat back. And it makes for a really premium feeling cabin that I really much appreciate. You can see it is a Maverick, so you are gonna have, you know, somewhat harder touch materials, which is kind of fine because they have a really interesting texture. It's a hard touch material here, but this is nice and padded where you would rest your elbow, which is nice. You still kind of have the fun exposed screw heads that you're gonna see over here. It's a little bit dark in this interior. All the windows are one touch for all four, which is also a nice touch. The window switches are also illuminated, which is nice. The door also has a nice solid sounding thunk, but really the biggest change that you're going to find is right here in the the infotainment system, because first of all, you have a brand new 13.2-inch center touchscreen. So remember, the previous or the pre-refresh model had an 8-inch display, which was fine, but it had that little extra storage area that I found to be a little bit useless. Instead, Ford utilized the space and gave this truck the biggest display in the class. So it also runs off of Sync 4A, which means it finally has wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Again, that's a feature that the Maverick, the pre-refresh one, didn't have. You had to actually connect your phone. And then here in the instrument panel, you also have a new 8-inch digital display. So it's kind of a combination of some analog and digital displays. It's much bigger versus the pre-refresh model. You can also, I believe, customize the gauge display here, obviously, if you want to show traditional gauges, or you want to show like you know, your usual information stuff. The steering wheel pretty much looks the same. You can see you have actual traditional buttons here, which are illuminated. The steering wheel itself is kind of an older Ford steering wheel design. No paddles, obviously, and then in terms of the dashboard materials here, you can see it's all hard touch plastic. But this trim also will include features like the Bang & Olufsen premium sound system, a sunroof. The seats also are an 8-way power adjustable. No actual memory seats. The seats are also heated, but you still cannot get ventilated seats, which again, it's kind of okay because this is supposed to be on the lower end of the totem pole in terms of features. But you can see the dash also has kind of like a really great two-tone combination with the navy pier and this kind of taupe look. Everything is hard touch plastic, but again, it's all very durable feeling, and it kind of reminds you that this is supposed to be a utilitarian truck, which is something that I think, you know, people really appreciate. Down here in the center area, you can see you have a push button start, or a start stop button here. You have wireless phone charging pad, a lot of actual storage here, along with this little gear selector, which controls the CVT transmission in the hybrid. And if I put the vehicle into reverse, which it actually shouldn't let me do that right now, but that's that's where you can kind of access the 360 camera, which I'll have to show you guys at another time. You can see you have a a single zone climate control function, or actually, I'm sorry, it is dual zone. It's been moved into the screen. So you can see the dash layout did change a little bit along with the orange accents. And then over here in the center console, you can see it's a nice padded area. It's a pretty deep center console storage area, which is nice. And then if you're wondering, here's the key fob for the vehicle. It also has the smart key access system, which has remote start as well. This is the typical Ford key. It's a little bit large for my taste, but again, Ford's kind of expanding the availability of the push button start, because before you had to get the lariat trim to get that feature. But let's hop into the back seat area. I want to show you guys the space back here. Now, this being the hybrid, it does reduce the legroom a little bit. You have around 36 inches of legroom back here, which is still a pretty good amount. This driver's seat is pushed back a little bit farther back versus my actual driving position. But remember, in the mid-size class, you typically have a pretty tight back seat anyways, but this is still pretty good. You can see the bench has pretty decent thigh support. There's also decent headroom for somebody my height. I can kind of sit back here and get comfortable. There's good foot space underneath here. You have the same navy pier with the two-tone look for the interior. You also have an actual power outlet here. You have 2 USB-C charging ports. No rear seat air vents I'm seeing back here, which again, I didn't expect. You do have the same hard touch plastic materials, and you also have an armrest that folds down here and gives you 2 cup holders, which is nice. And then you can also still kind of slide this window open if you need to. And again, it's a pretty usable area. This area, or this seat back itself, also, let me actually flip this up because I wanted to remind you guys really quick that you can flip this up. There's a little strap here you can see, flip it up. The hybrid battery, some of the components of the hybrid componentry lives underneath here, but there's still a good amount of storage underneath here, which is a nice touch. And you can also, I believe, pull this strap, and as you can see, fold this down so you can access the jack and a couple of other electronics back here for the stereo system. So overall, very usable backseat area, and I think a lot of people are going to appreciate, again, the practicality of the Maverick. It's one of the reasons why this vehicle has been so popular, especially if you're looking at, a regular compact or mid-sized car. You can essentially get a pickup truck with this much space and practicality for the same money. So last year in America, Ford managed to sell a little over 93,000 Mavericks. So this has been the top selling vehicle in its class, especially when you look at the competitor, its main competitor, the Hyundai Santa Cruz, and of course the Honda Ridgeline. Now this year, Ford has already managed to sell a little over 77,000 Mavericks. They're pretty much on track to do around 150,000. So this has been a huge runaway success for Ford. And after spending the day taking a look at the updated version, I really am loving the changes. Ford pretty much listened to all their customers. They improved the technology, they improved the capability, they gave it a little bit more style, and they also finally added the hybrid powertrain with all-wheel drive. And by the way, this XLT version also gets push-button start with keyless access. That was something previously you had to go to a Lariat to get. So it's really great to see that Ford is kind of bringing down those options to a different trim level and just giving us more of what we want. Now, in terms of pricing and availability, the new Maverick will be heading to dealerships next month, so you're not going to have to wait very long. And Ford already announced some preliminary pricing. The base XL, which now comes standard with the hybrid powertrain, is going to start at $26,295. That's about $2,000 more versus the 2024 model, which I think is worth it, especially when you consider all the upgraded technology that you get. Now, if you guys want all-wheel drive on the hybrid, it'll cost you around $2,200, which is actually the same price increase as last year when you had to step it up to the 2-liter turbo gas engine, which also comes standard with all-wheel drive. It's still the case this year, but to compensate, Ford did bring the price down of the 2-liter turbo gas model by about $1,200. So it's kind of still a very fair price bracket. We don't have final pricing on these configurations that we're showing you here, but I'd estimate that this model here with the FX4 off-road package and the premium package is probably going to be in the low $30,000 range. The green Lariat over there is probably going to be in the upper $30,000 range, and then that Tremor over there will probably be in the low $40,000 range. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Ford again hit 150 to 200,000 sales, because again, this truck has really proved that Americans are looking for a small truck like this, as long as you can price it reasonably. Because if you guys are looking at the pickup truck segment in general, they've just gotten so darn expensive, which is why something like this, the Maverick, has been so successful for Ford. But with all that said, hope you guys have enjoyed my full overview on the 2025 Ford Maverick. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at redline_reviews, like us on Facebook, and as always, guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.